And hey, hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. BOLES.tv. It's Boles Television. Oh, and I did.
And hey.
Oh, no.
Hello.
Oh, it's a disaster
Good morning,
already.
Good afternoon,
Yeah.
wherever you are in the world. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv.
That's why we do this.
BOLES.tv.
I have to go turn it down.
It's Boles Television. Oh, and I did. And hey.
Okay, hang on. Oh, what a way to start. Technical difficulties. Self-inflicted wounds. Hey, that's the fun of a live show, right? My new iPhone, I left the volume up because I was listening to something earlier. And the Apple TV in the living room was up because we don't have any music anymore on this show. So usually when that thing is playing, there's music playing, and I can hear that it's on, and I have to go turn down the volume. But when you don't have any music, it doesn't make any sound until you start talking. And then everything gets revealed, and it's all embarrassing. And you're ready to go home and crumble up into a little ball. I guess I'm already home. It's just the ball crumpling is what's next. Well, it's another ugly day on the East Coast. I guess this is still the remnants, the residue of Hurricane Ian. And it's ugly. It's been constantly raining, but not terrible rain, just a wetting rain. And currently we are at 52 degrees, which is a little cool. Some friends are turning on their heat. So far, we still have the windows open because it gets a little hot in here, especially this room, which is our +1 room. I think it could be a bedroom, but there's no window, there's no escape, there's no door, but there is a closet over here. It's a very interesting idea. I don't know if you would, have someone sleep here, but it's a perfect little office den area. But it's right next to the kitchen, so you really can't do anything here without it affecting the kitchen, and vice versa, as the kids say. So yesterday we did a lot of reviewing here on this live stream. We reviewed the iPhone 14 Pro Max. And it's hard to figure out the naming system. So the iPhone 14 is just the new iPhone. The iPhone 14 Pro is the professional, I guess, better version of the iPhone 14. The iPhone Pro Max is, I guess, the best one of all, but some people don't think so. And it's Max, I guess, because it has a bigger screen. And when you're old like me, you want a big screen. So I have always gone for the whatever Pro, yes, and the Max. And yesterday, we also reviewed our evidence audio cables. And I gotta say, a guy like Tony Farinelli decided, as a musician and an audiophile, that he wanted to create a better sound for musicians and performers. And he has dedicated his life to inventing and now selling audio cables, physical audio cables. That's all he does. It's amazing. And he's doing very well, and he has guitar cables and amp cables and AC cables and mic cables and speaker cables and any kind of cable you want that carries a audio signal. He makes it and he sells it. Now that's dedication. That's a guy who knows what he wants to do with his life. I want to make the best audio cable in the world. And so he did and done. It's really quite amazing to have that kind of dedication, purpose, and practice. So today, we have another review. This one, if you've been a fan of this show, This will be my actually third review of the Keychron keyboards. I'm a big fan. The first Keychron keyboard I bought was sort of like an impulse buy a couple of years ago on Amazon. It was tiny, it flashed, but it was all plastic, which is okay. It worked. I used it. Then once you get into the environment, the milieu of the Keychron world, and they send you emails and they explain this and that and that and this, and then you slowly become enraptured by these metal, heavy-duty, hardcore, old-school keyboards. So they have a brand new one that was just announced, the Keychron Q10, with the Alice layout. I'll show you the website in a minute, but this is the box. It arrived yesterday, straight from China via DHL Global, which you think would deliver early in the day, but they deliver very late at night. And this is what it looks like. I'm showing you the box first because it's easier. It's an open source customizable keyboard for peak productivity. You can build it yourself or you can have them build it for you. I, of course, have no interest in building my own keyboard. I let them build it for me. If you build it, they will come, wherever that's from. This is the other side of the box, explaining everything that's going on. Very nice. Right. Okay, so that's the box, which is a beautiful, beautiful box. It's very heavy. Now I'm going to attempt to hold up the keyboard and show it to you. And it's going to be upside down because there's no other way to show it to you. I'm not that talented. And I would say it's a good 5 pounds, maybe. It's all metal, except for the keys, which are plastic. This is what it looks like. It's that crazy split keyboard thing, right? That nobody really understands, that I think Microsoft sort of brought to the forefront of keyboard typing. So it's very quiet, right? Uh-oh, I just hit a button and something happened. That's funny. That was the page down key. What is page up to? Oh, look at that. We have a whole thing going on. Oh my, oh gosh, I did it again. No, wait, no, same thing. The home key does nothing. Page down gives you this page. Page up gives you the beginning of the show. Oh my goodness, now I want to click every key and see what happens. It's taken over my show. Oh my God. Incredible. Now the one thing I want to show you that I didn't show you because I got all confused is this. It's this knurled metal knob. And it clicks. And the default is your volume control. So how great is that? Especially when you're in freaking Windows 11, which is horrible. And I have to either go behind my speaker to turn up my sound, or I have to go into the corner and adjust my volume thing. Now this, I just twist, goes up and it goes down. Loud volume, some volume. If I get a phone call, oh my gosh, what do I do? How do I turn off the sound? Where do I go? You click the top of that knurled knob and it turns off. It mutes your sound. Hard to beat. So here's the official blurb, as they say in the PR biz. For the Keychron Q10 Alice layout, QMK custom mechanical keyboard. Now, I guess that's this split thing. I don't know anything about keyboards really, I just buy them. I guess this is the split thing with the Alice. I guess that's the Alice layout, I don't know. Now Microsoft many years ago, 25 years ago, had the Microsoft keyboard. I guess they still have it. That was huge. This one is supposed to be 75% smaller, which I believe it is. It takes a little bit of adjustment to sort of peel your hands out this way so you can type instead of typing like this. It's very easy on your wrists. I've learned, I like a white letter on a black key. My previous Keychron keyboard, which was very tiny, but all metal, delicious, my beautiful wife Jan Marie is using it, has white keys with black letters. I don't know, with my old eyes, you'd think that the white would be easier to see, but it's not. And it has all kinds of fancy lights that you can turn off or turn on and flash. So it's this split keyboard thing that Microsoft introduced, and people either love the keyboard or they hate the keyboard. I happen to be one of the people who appreciates the keyboard. And here we go, different designs. The one I have with the blue with a, I guess it's a thing of which key clicker you have. Like this. There's blue, red, and brown. Blue is the most popular, I've learned. I guess it depends on what kind of sound it makes or how hard it is to push. Second most popular appears to be brown, and least popular is red. This one I got blue. The last one I had was red. I don't find much difference. The red is a little bit quieter than the blue. Here is an all-gray scheme. There's that knob I was telling you about. It's fantastic. Having the knob is worth all the money in the world. So they have these different lights. This is the blue version. You can have a blue keyboard, you can have a gray keyboard, black keyboard. And then you pick the keyboard and then you pick your key, this key color type. So it's like a whole thing you have to figure out. Do I want red, brown, blue? Most people, I think, would be happy with anything because they're all really, in my opinion, the same. Now, here's where it gets interesting. What type do you want? Do you want it fully assembled? Do you want a bare bone knob or do you want a bare bone ISO knob? I don't know what the difference is. Do you want it in carbon black? Yes. Silver gray? No. Navy blue? No. What kind of switch do you want? The only one that seems to be left is red. So what you can do is you can build your own keyboard, which I guess is cheaper. So like a bare bone knob, this is what it looks like if you buy this version. So I guess you have to put all the keycaps in yourself. Yeah? Okay, that's what that looks like. Okay. So fully assembled will cost you a little bit more. I don't want to put together my keyboard. I don't even really know where all the letters go, honestly. And it comes in two versions. Comes one for Mac. It's Mac out of the bag. And then if you want to make it into a Windows keyboard, there's a little thing on the back. You just click it over from Mac to Win. Click, one click, and it's there. And then you have to replace 3 keycaps, but they give you all the tools and the extra keycaps to put on there. It's very, 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 very simple. The Q10 is a blend of an Alice layout and 75% keyboard size, which is good. That was smart to make it smaller than the massive, what I think of as the Microsoft version. Extra macro keys to program and a left knob design. It is a fully customizable keyboard. And it really appears to be. There's a little software thing where you can either 5 M1, M2, M3 macro keys on the side. That's right, this right here. That you can then, I guess, program it to do things for you, like zooming in, zooming out, saving, something like that. These are all the things it does. Hot swappable, double gasket design, CNC aluminum body. It is very well made. It's very heavy. And that's what I like. Because if you're old like me and you learned how to type on a typewriter, and by typewriter I mean a heavy thing where you got to press down the keys, physical keys, and have it snap on a platen, you like having a heavy keyboard because it reminds you of what you once had, even though you don't have to press down quite as hard. It's a refined piece of metal art. These are the layers, if you will, of the keyboard. Silicone gaskets, cape, acoustic tape, so it's quiet if you want to type at night. Sound absorbing foam. So you don't see any of that if you get it delivered to yourself. But I guess if you want to design it yourself, then you can, make these adjustments in this animated image here. OSA profile, double shot, PBT keycaps. The PBT keycaps provide excellent oil resistance, enhance the type and feel, and prevent the legends from falling out, which sounds very romantic, actually. Oh, here's where you go from Mac to Windows. It's just a little flick of a switch. Very easy. There's my programmable knob. It's very well made, very heavy. I cannot believe I've lived this long without it. And this is how you can program your macros. These macros here, you can program and make it do things. I haven't figured that out yet. I think that's a separate software download. I'm not sure I'll even mess with it because, you know, the more things you add to Windows 11 for something as vital, as important as a keyboard, tends to get messed up somehow. It tends not to really work. After you install, restart, then you have to uninstall, reinstall, restart. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. Maybe it needs an update, maybe it doesn't want an update. But maybe I'm being too childish. This is showing how you can make your knob zoom in and zoom out. If you're a photographer, do a lot of work with graphic files, you might appreciate that. Saves you from clicking on a magnifying glass icon. South-facing RGB LED lights. I don't know why that's important. The south-facing RGB LED is designed to better illuminate the keyboard backlight from the typist's angle with the premium non-shine-through PBT keycaps installed. The south-facing RGB is also free from interference when the users install OEM or cherry profile alternative keycaps on the keyboard. I don't know what half of that means, but that's okay. It does come pre-lubed, though. I don't know if I should get into that. I'll put the link to this page on our Discord server, and you can go click on it and find out for yourself what the pre-lube means. Aha, these are the switches. Okay, so the red switch has a travel distance of 4.6, the blue 4.6, the brown 4.6. The behavior is linear. I don't know what that means. For the red, clicky for the blue, tactile for the brown. I don't know what that means either. Pre-lubed, red, yes. Blue, no. Oh, that makes me nervous. I don't know what that means. I'm not pre-lubed. Now I have to go up and read about this. By optimizing the switch mode, the Keychron Pro G Pro switch wobbles less than a standard mechanical switch and feels smoother on each hit. Plus, the factory pre-lubed process on all the G Pro switches, excluding the clicky ones. That's what I got, though. No doubt this will ensure the best smoothness of your fingertips while typing. Well, what's interesting, sound level is quiet, mine is clicky, gentle for the brown. Now, well, here you go. Suitable for gaming and the office, red. The typist is blue. So that's me. And I tell you, the blue sells out fast. And then the brown and then the red lingers, which I find very interesting. The brown is suitable for midway office gaming. I don't know what midway means in that context. There's an all-no screw stabilizer, but you don't see any of that if you're just doing it yourself. Different layouts for whatever you want to do and how you want it to work. Here's the fully assembled version where you get your tools. They give you a screwdriver, Allen wrench, cord, a key puller. I couldn't figure out what this is. A hex key, screwdriver, keycap puller, switch puller. Oh, a switch puller. So that's when you pull out the keycap and then you need to pull out the thing underneath it. Ah, I would not have known what that meant. And there are the specs. And it's amazing. I highly recommend it. And I love it when we go back to this. It messes up the font somehow. It's very strange. So yesterday we had a big session discussing the delight of Dall-E, which is artificial intelligence imagery. And here's their Discord server where they have Promptober, where they give you a prompt every day and people upload their artwork. And you can see what they're using, the phrasing, to get the image to present itself. Some are awful, some are good, people get stuck. It's all on their Discord server, and you can go there and get help with prompts. So then you upload your thing, and if you get 10 upvotes, then you go into the Hall of Fame. This was my entry from this morning. I do not have 10 upvotes, I have 7. I could vote for myself, but that probably wouldn't be appropriate. But this is now my new profile pic on Twitter, and still no help from the Twitter Blue team on getting my NFT profile to work. It says NFTs are not available. I asked for help. They won't help me. I'm a paying customer. They won't help me. And my subscription is up, I think, on Friday. So I think we know where this is going if it doesn't get fixed. Because there's no reason to pay for Twitter Blue if you do not have the profile pic working. So this was my entry. And so here are some of the things that people are posting that they're doing with this Dall-E. Artificial intelligence. This is warm and cozy, I think, is the prompt for today. And people put up their prompt and their warm and cozy stuff. And all of this that you're looking at is created by a computer. I prefer to call it a collaboration with AI and Dall-E. So this is really, I think, amazing artwork. And it's not, hey! Who's here? Jana Marie is here. Oh, and what's she saying? I love those images you made. This is a funny cat picture. It is a funny cat picture. I'm glad you're here, Marie. And there's a cute one. Some kind of bird. See, the cozy thing, seems that a lot to have to do with tea, and it has to do with the fireplace. Which I sort of find boring because everybody's doing that. It doesn't say you have to use a fireplace. It doesn't say you have to have the animal or something drinking tea. But I guess for a lot of these people using the AI, in their mind, they think, oh, fireplace and tea, I'll add that. Now this is kind of cute with a woman reading a bedtime story with a cup of tea inside the arms of a giant teddy bear. Dragons are very popular, as we've discussed, as are cats and astronauts. It's Halloween, so you do see a lot of mummies and vampires and ghosts. Hey, it's artist Dora. Busy at work, hi there. Still playing with Dall-E. I need a fireplace. Very cold day here, chilly at least. Yeah, we talked about the weather. It's very weird, strange weather. And yes, we are not playing with Dall-E. We are collaborating with Dall-E, trying to figure out what to do. I had a wonderful experience today with creating New York subway tiles. I'll show you one in a moment. So this is the Promptober. So you can go and upload your thing. And these, look, a mother kissing a child. Okay, that's probably the prompt with glowing light from a fireplace, I would say. But these, again, are not real people. These are not images taken from anywhere. These are images created by a computer that this is what a mother and a son would look like. And sometimes you get cartoons. Sometimes you get line drawings. And then you have to fix it. And you can say in the style of Vermeer, in the style of Bansky, in the style of World War I cinema, in the style of Edvard Munch. And it will do its best to try to give you that. It's really very interesting. In the style of a year 1700 painting. And it will do its best. So there's the prompt for today. Cozy, get all feeling warm and fuzzy. Okay. So we did that. So I'll do one quick little Dall-E thing since I was accused of playing with my food. So I'll see if I can do the subway tile. I've tried it a lot this morning, and I got some very interesting results. I like it a lot. I can show you one. If I can just find my, where is it? Wait. Yes. Oh, Artist Dora says okay. So here we go. These are two of my, this is Dall-E, and if you look down here, right down there at the very bottom, you can see the bottom right corner. That is the Dall-E watermark. Some people remove it because they want trickery. I leave it because I like it. So this is me typing Sun, New York City, subway tile mosaic. Amend me, Artist Dora says. And this is what was the result. And I find it to be fabulous perfection. And I got this inspiration from a photo and a video that Jan Marie took from the 9th Street Path Station as she goes down and puts it up of this exploding sun. Artist Dora says, I saw this on Twitter or Facebook. Yes, this is my Facebook page. So this is my banner on Facebook. Totally fake. This does not exist anywhere except in the mind of Dall-E. Now, what's interesting about this is I tried originally sun shining, and I tried sunset, and then Dall-E is not good with text or words, but decides it's going to put nonsensical letters on your artwork. So it had sun shining and set-unning. So I took that out because I was trying to translate that somehow. I just put sun, and it worked better. Here's my other one. This, again, is not real. This is, the prompt was sunflower, New York City, subway tile mosaic. And this is now my profile pic on my Facebook page. Totally fabulous. So good. So let me see if I can come up with another genius idea of subway tiles. I tried a steam train. It sort of worked. I tried clown. But what it did, it didn't make a mosaic. It just put up subway tile and then it like painted on it. It was interesting, scary, freaky, creepy, but not aesthetically beautiful. Pretty. Thank you, Dora. So what can I do for a subway tile that's cozy? What is the prompt again? Cozy, warm and fuzzy. Warm, fuzzy. Maybe I'll just do it that way. Warm, fuzzy, New York City, subway tile mosaic. I think it's not going to work, but I'll be patient. I always have hope, and we'll see what happens. Oh, see, you can see here on the side. You can see all of my awful meanderings. I'm trying to get this to work. Oh, see, this is ridiculous. This doesn't work at all. Wham! Because I was trying to spell warm. Warm, again, very weird. Wham, wham, wham. Total failure. Sometimes it happens. Oh, this prompt was a clown face made of bricks. This is the best one. Very creepy. That one, I don't get it. This is the one I was telling you about with the subway tile painted. See, this is not a mosaic to me. These are subway tiles that are painted. The sunflower did it. I also tried the moon, and the moon didn't work. Here, I'll show you the moon. Moon subway tile mosaic, New York City. It couldn't do it. It's trying to make like half a moon. This, I don't even know what this is. This looks communist to me in some way. I don't know. But the mosaic part is fantastic. Beautifully, beautifully done. Full moon. Oh, maybe I'll try that. Full moon. Oh, let's redo that. Full moon. Full moon. NYC subway mosaic. Okay. Generate. Oh, I'm going over time. That's okay. The bathroom can wait. Maybe. And then I'm going to get all wound up in my next conversation with you. Oh, this is not good again. How is that a full moon? That's just sad. And see, it's getting away from the mosaic thing. This is okay. But does it say moon? Does it read moon, as the kids say? I would say not really. But because this is sort of close, we can click on variation, and then it will try again, taking the inspiration of what they presented and maybe trying to make it into something that looks a little bit better, but that's the only one that didn't have any crazy writing on it. Is this better? Is this more moon-like? Not really. No. 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 Apple. New York City. Subway. Mosaic. I'm going to leave tile out of it because maybe the tile is confusing it where it thinks it has to have tile instead of mosaic inlay. Oh, mosaic inlay. Inlay. Maybe that's... Then it might type inlay. It's hard to predict. Oh, no, this is not bad. Let's see. Maybe. Let's look. It's an apple. It's close, but it's... I want the... Yeah. This is unsuccessful. I will save this one, though. And I will do a variation on this one because maybe it'll funky it up a little bit. Okay, this. It's pretty, but not really what I'm looking for. As the kids would say, it's the assignment. It is. Has no inspiration. Not very interesting. But it is an apple made of tile and mosaic. So that's part of the fun today. And now we're going to take our very first blood pressure break of the day. And then I'm going to get all wound up. I'll tell you right now, for the next little piece, when students fire teachers. Oh, it's all in the news again. I've warned about it. I've discussed it. I've covered it in depth in many ways. And I'm not going to stop covering it because it's very vicious and not entertaining. And we're going to discuss it when I return in a moment. And we are back from break here on Boles TV. It's BOLES.TV. It's Boles.television, coming to you live and in person. High noon, Monday through Friday. 9 a.m. Eastern? No. Now we're at high noon Eastern. Weekdays. So, there's a very disturbing thing that's been going on in academia for several years, and it's really a big problem. And it is this, that students think they know more than the instructors. They think they can tell a professor how to teach them, how to grade them, and if the teacher does not follow their demands, and they're all different. You have a class of 300 students and they all want different teaching, individualized teaching, 300 of them. Not all students are this way, but many are. They will gang up on the teacher, make a complaint, go to the chair of the department. I don't like this teacher, too difficult. And either the chair stands by the instructor, or, as in the case of a very famous, well-known organic chemistry professor who is 82 years old and who taught at Princeton and then NYU, gets fired because students didn't like him. Students didn't respond to his way of teaching. And frankly, it disgusts me as a human being and as an instructor. And it's difficult because students think they run the university, and the students don't run the university. The students are part of the university system. Is it fair that students in one class in one semester can try to ruin the career of a professor who's been teaching for 50 years because they think he's old-fashioned and mean and unfriendly? Well, in the case of NYU, that's exactly what happened. Students got together, signed a petition. Oh, yeah, let's go after him. He's grading us too hard. Oh, we didn't want him to get fired. No, we just started a petition to complain to the university that we don't like this teacher. And this is nothing new. Camille Paglia also had the same situation. She's a super genius. So here's how this is unfolding yesterday in the New York Times. Maitland Jones Jr., a respected professor, defended his standards, but students started a petition, and the university fired him. I mean, it's sickening to me. Students said Maitland's course was too hard and blamed him and his teaching methods for their poor showings. And what are you going to do? These students get together, they collude, they say, oh, if we all go together as one, then they'll have to listen to us. And it's NYU's detriment that they fell for this farce. In the field of organic chemistry, Maitland Jones has a storied reputation. He taught the subject for decades. Oh no, the students know better, right? First at Princeton, then at New York University, he wrote an influential textbook. He received awards for his teaching as well as recognition as one of NYU's coolest professors. It's difficult to read this and to experience it. Artist Dort says, I agree with you, that's not right. I know, see, but the problem is we're old. We're old, we know what it means. You have to go out and prove yourself. You have to hunker down, shape up, fly right. Students, they don't want that. And their argument is, I'm paying $60,000 a year to go here, and that means I get easy grading. And there are universities like NYU who say with a straight face to these students, I agree with you. And so what does that mean? It means one thing and one thing only, after we're done talking about this, grade inflation. Everybody gets an A. Okay. Don't have to do any work. Okay. No bell curve. Blind grading, all A's. Okay. Students are going to love that. Professors don't like it. But if you're not supported by your university, then what choice do you have? You're stuck. All A's for everybody. And then the university's reputation goes down because you're graduating students who don't know anything. Because they've all been pushed along, passed along in the system. It's a reckoning, and it's going to take a few years to find its final effect, but this is a chilling, chilling story about a professor who is wrongly dismissed. Last spring, as the NYU campus emerged from pandemic restrictions, 82 of his 350 students in that one class signed a petition against him. So, how many students does it take to get rid of a professor? 6, 10, 10%, 15%? Students said the high-stakes course, notorious for ending many dreams of medical school, was too hard, blaming Dr. Jones, blaming him for their poor test scores. And this course he may be old, he may be chilly, he may be sarcastic, but he was surrounded by many TAs, teaching assistants, who were warm, friendly, and could relate. And if you needed help, and you didn't want to go to him, you go to the TAs, who sit down with you and will individually tutor you and help you. Oh, no, that's too much work. I just want to go, sit down, show up, or maybe not, and be given an A, because I pay $60,000 a year for tuition. The professor defended his standards, but just before the start of the fall semester, university deans terminated Dr. Jones's contract. The officials also had tried to placate the students by offering to review their grades. Change their grades is what that means. Allowing them to withdraw from the class retroactively. The chemistry department's chairman, Mark E. Tuckerman, said the unusual offer to withdraw was a one-time exception granted to students by the dean of the college. It's despicable. The deans are going for some bottom line. They want happy students who are saying great things about the university, so more people apply. Meow, meow. And that's a big problem. So these teachers out there, you're tough. You want to teach the students something that they don't know. They don't want to learn it. And they're going to give you bad evaluations. And NYU does what I call rolling evaluations. Throughout early evaluations are open to you to see what your students think of you. And it's up to you as the instructor. You change. You get those students on your side. You get them to give you high ratings, or you're out. And so again, what are you going to do? If you're young, upcoming, you want to have good reviews, you want to have good feedback from your students. Everybody gets an A. Oh, then, magically, the evaluations are positive. Students aren't learning anything because you're not teaching anything. You're not challenging them to think. You're not challenging them to learn. You're leaving them to their own daring do. Dare we say daring do-do. Artist Dora says, I will have to ask my son what he thinks of it. My son was also an instructor. I already know what your son is going to say. Foo-foo on the students. Because they will terrorize. If they sense weakness in you, they will terrorize you and take advantage of you. Not all students. More often than not. They say weakness, they pounce. They see an easy way out, they do it. And when the university entertains their ridiculousness, it's bad for the university. Dr. Jones, 84, is known for changing the way the subject is taught. I call that super genius. And sometimes in life, you're going to have difficult people who are 84 years old and who don't want to listen to your ridiculous reasons why you can't come to class and why you can't study. You think the real world's that way? You think the real world is going to entertain why you don't feel like coming to class? The real world is going to punch you in the face and choke you and kick you hard on the knee so you fall down. And you're going to start a petition. You're going to go collect signatures to revenge against the world treating you unfairly. In addition to writing the 1,300-page textbook, Organic Chemistry, which, in my very brief reading about this topic, is the textbook. The guy wrote the book for teaching organic chemistry. And NYU students say, oh, we don't want him. No. Not the author of the textbook. No. He's too hard. He'll expect us to learn something. And if we don't do it right, oh, well, he's not going to be nice to us. He's going to give us a low grade. We deserve it, but we don't want it. Now in its 5th edition, he pioneered a new method of instruction that relied less on rote memorization and more on problem solving. And that appeared to sort of be the crux of this whole thing, is that he doesn't want you to just repeat back something you've memorized. He presents you with a problem to solve. And based on your experience of learning in the class, you have to solve the problem. Well, the students didn't want that. After retiring from Princeton in 2007, he taught organic chemistry at NYU on a series of yearly contracts. About a decade ago, he said in an interview, he noticed a lot of loss of focus among the students, even as more of them enrolled in his class hoping to pursue medical careers. Students were misreading exam questions at an astonishing rate, he said, in a grievance to the university over his firing. Grades fell even as he reduced the difficulty of his exams. And if I'm right, I believe NYU offers any student admitted to medical school free tuition. So you have a lot of people lining up to get an NYU medical school. And if you take organic chemistry and you fail that class, you can't get a free ride from NYU for medical school. The problem was exacerbated by the pandemic, he said. In the last 2 years, they fell off a cliff. We now see single-digit scores and even zeros. And as someone in one of the online groups said, who was familiar with the situation, they said, this is the first class who took this class with this professor where NYU no longer required SAT scores to get into the university. So you had that fence up for all these years. You need a certain score on the SAT test or you're not getting in. We're not even going to look at you. Well, now because of COVID, you can't take a test. Okay, no more SATs. They're unfair. They're culturally insignificant because they punish people. Forget the SAT. Just come on over to NYU. And you have experienced teachers like this saying, look, ever since that policy was put in place, the quality of student has gone down. After several years of COVID learning loss, the students not only didn't study, they didn't know how to study, Dr. Jones said. So, to ease pandemic stress, Dr. Jones and 2 other professionals taped 52 organic chemistry lectures. And the NYU Adjunct Union says the university cannot force you into recording any of your classes. It's against the contract. They can ask you, hey, do you mind recording? But they cannot force you. They cannot demand that you record your class. So he did that on his own to be helpful to these failing students. And they turn around and get rid of him. Dr. Jones said that he personally paid more than $5,000 to create these 52 videos, and that they are still used by the university today. Oh no, but that was not enough. In 2020, some 30 students out of 475 filed a petition asking for more help, said Dr. Aurora, who taught that class with Dr. Jones. They were really struggling. The students were struggling, he explained. They didn't have good internet coverage at home. All sorts of things. They weren't coming to class because I can count the house, Dr. Jones said. They weren't watching the videos. The 52 videos I paid $5,000 for out of my own pocket. They weren't able to answer the questions. He's an old guy. He's a teacher. He knows they're not reading the stuff. What can he do about it? Well, it's not going to be their fault. Not these new students. No. It's never my fault. It's the university's fault. It is the professor's fault. I am faultless. I got into NYU. I didn't have to provide my SATs, but I'm here. And now you have to deal with me and my petitions. Students could choose between two sections, one focused on problem solving, the other on traditional lectures. Students in both sections shared problems on a GroupMe chat and began venting about the class. Oh, not to help each other, not to solve problems, but to have a bitch session about the teacher on a GroupMe chat. Those texts, those gripes, kick-started the petition. The students criticized Dr. Jones' decision to reduce the number of midterm exams from 3 to 2, flattening their chances to compensate for their low grades. They said that he had tried to conceal course averages, did not offer extra credit. Nobody offers extra credits. This is not a high school. This is a university. It's organic chemistry. We're trying to train you to become a medical doctor. They don't have extra credit in surgery. And he removed Zoom access to his lectures, even though some students had COVID. And they said he had a condescending and demanding tone. Well, I say to you, in the most condescending and demanding tone I can create, welcome to the real world. You're going to find a lot of a-holes out there, and you're going to have to figure out how to deal with them, because not everyone is going to bend to the pressure of your petition, because they don't care. One teaching assistant in the problem-solving section of the course defended Dr. Jones in an email to university officials, saying, I think this petition was written more out of unhappiness with exam scores than an actual feeling of being treated unfairly. I have noticed that many of the students who consistently complained about the class did not use the resources we afforded to them. And who won? The bad behavior of the students? Yes. The genius textbook writing professor, 82 years old? You're out. Get out. The entire controversy seems to illustrate a sea change in teaching. From an era when professors set the bar and expected the class to meet it, to the current, more supportive, student-centered approach. Dr. Jones said, I learned to teach during a time when the goal was to teach at a very high and rigorous level. We hope that students will be seeing that putting them through that rigor is doing them some good. Well, I agree with the doctor, and now I say good luck with that. NYU is evaluating so-called stumble courses, courses that are hard, that are like a barrier you have to leap over successfully in order to move on to the next thing, like free medical school. Stumble courses in which a higher percentage of students get D's and F's. Organic chemistry has historically been one of those courses. Do these courses really need to be punitive in order to be rigorous? Yes, because how else are you going to evaluate the student? You cannot have every student getting an A. I remember great inflation. Harvard University several years ago. Students are very upset. They said, I'm an A student. And the instructor would say, good. Here's a rigorous exam. We're going to have things even out, and not everyone's getting an A. And the students fought back. They said, but we are all A students. We go to Harvard. We wouldn't be here unless we were A students. To give us anything less than an A is about you, professor, not about us. Now, how ridiculous is that? That everybody's equal. Everybody deserves an A. Well, you didn't do the work. Well, that doesn't matter, because I'm going to go complain to the dean, and the dean's going to fix it for me. Dr. Jones's course evaluations were by far the worst, not only among members of the chemistry department, but among all the university's undergraduate science courses. Well, of course, when you're the object of hatred and despise, you're going to be graded pretty lowly. Professors in the chemistry department have pushed back. In a letter to Dr. Gabazadze and other deans, they wrote that they were worried about setting a precedent completely lacking in due process. You're fired. That could undermine faculty freedom and correspondingly enfeeble proven pedagogic practices, which means the instructor knows more than you do. The instructor shares, the instructor teaches, you either receive it or not. As Howard Stein at Columbia University, in the city of New York, used to tell me, my mentor, my friend, you toss it out there, and students will either catch it or they won't. It's really just that simple. One chemistry professor who signed that letter said the university's actions may deter rigorous instruction, especially given the growing tendency of students to file petitions. Oh, it's sickening. Now the faculty who are not tenured, this professor says, are looking at this case and thinking, wow, what if this happens to me? And they don't renew my contract. Well, that's the threat. Oh, we're the students. We don't like you. And we can get rid of you. Now that's chilling. And Dr. Jones agrees, saying, I don't want my job back. I just want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. And I agree with Dr. Jones. It's really treacherous. It's really awful. And it's just beginning at NYU and other places. The teaching comes first, then the learning, and I hope one day, never the complaining. Because there's always an excuse for failing to perform. And if the job of the university is to prepare students to perform, they cannot be pushed along, they cannot be placated with their stupid petitions. They need to be challenged and graded fairly and given the opportunity to prove themselves viable and important in the real world beyond the walls of the university. But when you're in the business of pushing students in and out of your school at $60,000 a year or whatever, You're in a business. You're not in academe. You're not worried about creating great minds for the future. You're just concerned with your endowment and parents' money and student loans from the kids who complain to get what they want. And it's very easy to think that if Dr. Jones had given in all the way and said, look, hey, everybody gets an A, he'd still be teaching today at NYU. And now it's time for our next blood pressure break of the day, returning in a moment. And when we get back, we're going to have an interesting conversation about vertigo. And Bppv. What? Oh, yes. It's coming up next. I'll see you in a moment. And hey, we're back from break. This is Boles.tv. It's Boles.television. Oh, all wound up today. Noon, Eastern here, Monday through Friday, weekdays. Getting upset. Yelling. Finding a new way. And I'll tell you, the students are going to complain. And they're going to band together and they're going to file petitions. That's fine. That teaches them to stand up for themselves, to be resourceful, to find a new way. The problem with the firing of Dr. Jones is with the administration who fired him. They need to back up their professors, and when these students come en masse signing a petition, the university needs to read it, consider it, see it for what it really is, because they know, and then say thank you very much, but we're not firing Dr. Jones. So this is all on NYU for doing a despicable thing and firing a fantastic faculty member, and the authority wrote the textbook on organic chemistry. So now we're going to have a conversation about Bppv. What is that? Oh boy, it's complicated, but we're going to work through it together because it's fascinating. Bppv is benign, paroxysmal, positional vertigo. Now, this is a very interesting, I'm going to call it a phenomenon. I'm not a doctor. I do not have a degree in organic chemistry. But Bppv sounds very severe, and it is, and it's also very solvable, if you know what I mean. And it's severe in that it affects people and the quality of their life, but it's solvable, as we're going to learn. So this is, and I'll put this in our Discord server and our links section, because this is very long and complicated, but I want you to have the real background. So here's what, I'll read you the introduction just so you know where we are. So we set the foul lines. Bppv is a disorder characterized by brief recurring bouts of vertigo. Vertigo is a sensation of spinning, whirling, or turning. Individuals often feel as if the room is moving or spinning. They have trouble walking. They can lose their balance and have difficulty standing. During these vertigo spells, affected individuals often have abnormal eye movements as well as nystagmus. And that is very interesting. Nystagmus is when your eyes kind of, go one way, but it's uncontrollable. Sometimes it lasts 2 seconds, 30 seconds, sometimes a minute. Hey, Artist Dora says, I can't even think of vertigo. And I feel the effects. Yeah. I've never really experienced that too much, except, when you spin around like a kid trying to make yourself dizzy. But this is a real thing, and it affects a lot of people. Bppv is most often triggered by changes in head position, which is really interesting. Artist Dora says, I've experienced it a couple of times. Oh boy, that's not good. The severity of the disorder varies. In some people, it only causes mild symptoms, while in others, it can potentially cause more severe, even debilitating symptoms. Bppv may disappear, but sometimes it persists recurrently for many months. Most affected individuals can be easily and effectively treated by non-invasive methods, such as canalith, repositioning movement maneuvers. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Because you get dizzy, vertigo, and it's all about your cochlea and your inner ear. And some deaf people have trouble with vertigo, stereotypically. But also deaf people tend to have trouble with their cochlea because they can't hear. And what it is there are little tiny crystals in your cochlea that when you suddenly move, sometimes you get hit in the head. Hey, it's Artist Oregon. Yes, that's what happened to me. The vertical position of my head, etc., but I also know what to do when I get it. That's very good. So you get hit in the head. Okay, got it. Due to the position of my head. So you get hit in the head, or you bend down, like to, clean the bathtub or pick toys up off the floor, and you stand up. Or someone talks to you and you look away too quickly. And it takes those little crystals in your head, and instead of being in the middle, let's say, they get shifted to one side. And that's what triggers the eye movement, because your eyes are trying to orient you into, wait a minute, where am I standing? So that's why when you see the eyes moving, you think, okay, that person has a vertigo problem because the crystals in their head that balances them have moved. And the eyes are trying to find the center to stay. And these crystals aren't just moving around, they're moving around in fluid. So they tend to move and kind of stay stuck until you're able to move them back. So what causes Bppv? And here's the answer. I'll put this link also in Discord chat. Bppv occurs when tiny calcium crystals called oroconia come loose from their normal locations in the utricle, a sensory organ in the inner ear. If the crystals become detached, they can flow freely in the fluid-filled spaces of the inner ear, including the semicircular canals that sense the rotation of the head. Oroconia will occasionally drift into one of the SCCs, usually the posterior SCC, given its orientation, relative to gravity at the lowest point of the inner ear. So, very interesting. People with Bppv can experience a spinning sensation, a dizziness, a nausea, vertigo, anytime there is a change in the position of the head. Very important. And if you have this, keep your head straight. Don't look back and forth quickly. If you have to pick up something from the floor, don't bend down to pick it up. Just lower yourself, straight line, pick it up, stand back up until you feel better. Well, the hallmark of Bppv is vertigo associated with changes in head position. Many people with Bppv also feel a mild degree of unsteadiness in between their recurrent attacks of positional vertigo. What brings it on? Inner ear disease, aerobics, biking on rough trails, head trauma, keeping the head in the same position for a long time, such as the dentist chair or the beauty salon. So there's treatment, the Epley Maneuver for Bppv. So how do you know you have it? The diagnosis. First of all, you have to figure out which ear is causing the problem. What is vertigo? What causes vertigo? How do you treat vertigo? How do you know which ear it is? Here we go. This is it. This is the gold standard. It solves all your problems. It can be difficult to tell which ear is actually causing your vertigo when the world feels as though it's spinning. Now, your eye movement will tell you. If it's moving to the right, it's your right ear. If it's moving to the left, it's your left ear. But to treat vertigo, you need to know which ear is the culprit. Lie down on the bed with your head slightly hanging over the side of the end. Turn your head to the right and wait for 60 seconds. Are you dizzy? Then your right ear is causing the vertigo. If you don't feel dizzy, even though you feel dizzy, but if you don't feel dizzy in that position, sit up, wait for 1 minute, then lie down again with your head slightly hanging over the side or the end of the bed. You can do this at home. Turn your head to the left, wait for 60 seconds. Are you dizzy? Then your left ear is causing the vertigo. So that's good. You have to figure out which ear it is first. Very, very important. And if you have a mild case, you might not know. You might have to do the tests a couple of times. Which position does your head make you feel more dizzy or more nauseous? And then it's very easy, really, to fix. And this is the fix. The Epley Maneuver. And here's how you do it. This is how you fix it. If you have a problem in your right ear, this is what you do. You start by sitting on a bed. Turn your head 45 degrees to the right, and then quickly, this is the key, you have to very quick, turn your head to the right, and you quickly fall backward because you're trying to get the crystal in your head to move and trigger this. Turn your head 45 degrees to the right, fall back, keeping your head turned. Your shoulders should now be on the pillow and your head should be reclined. Wait 30 seconds. Turn your head 90 degrees to the left without raising it. Your head will now be looking 45 degrees to the left. So you're falling back, boom, you're in this position then you turn your head just like this, move it like that. Keep it in that position for 30 seconds. Then turn your head and body another 90 degrees to the left into the bed. That means you're getting over on your side, so your head's you get on your side, on your hip, on your shoulder, and then you'll slowly sit up with your head still cocked. Wait 30 seconds, and then the key is you have to sit there by yourself quietly for 45 minutes, 15 minutes. Turn your head and body another 90 degrees to the left into the bed. Wait 30 seconds, sit up on the left side, and you just reverse that if you're for the other ear. And what that does is it moves the crystals in your head back into place. It's like a super miracle. You may need to sleep up on propped pillows until you feel better to keep your neck from extending. Sometimes this lasts for a couple of weeks. But usually, from the very little bit of research I've done, and a friend of mine who had this, it's almost instantaneously you feel better. And then you kind of have to figure out what's causing it, how do you get out of it, how can you feel better. These are all the curious circumstances you need to try to feel better when you have this terrible, terrible vertigo. And now we're taking a very brief blood pressure break, returning in a moment. Oh, and then what's coming up next? That's always fun. And I do know what's coming up next. I just can't find it on my thing. This one. And now when we come back, oh yes, this is going to be good. We're going to talk about Echo IV therapy. Yes, we've now moved from outrage in the classroom to taking care of yourself. Why not? It's what we need to do more of. Therefore, and for say. Okay, back in a moment. We're back from break. I'm David Boles, and this is Boles.tv. Hey, it's BOLES.television, Monday through Friday, high noon Eastern. Hey, on our break, Artist Dora shared her wonderful story of vertigo overcoming vertigo. She said, the last time I had vertigo, it happened when I turned my head suddenly. Everyone had already left, and I was by myself. I walked myself to a dark conference room, sat in a chair, stared straight ahead. Then when I started feeling better, I walked around my floor, again keeping my head straight, and it went away. I was a little worried to get on a bus, but I kept my head straight and tried not to look at my phone, etc. And I was fine. That was about 3 years ago. Well, I'm so glad you figured that out, and I hope it never comes back, because people I have had conversations with, they say it's terrible. Not only do you feel dizzy, but you feel like you want to throw up and you don't want to eat anything. And your whole body hurts. Your skin doesn't want to be touched. Now, some of us are old, and we may remember this thing called an oxygen bar. It was sort of a hepcat thing, as the kids are saying, where you'd go into a bar, not a liquor bar, but an oxygen bar, and you would inhale oxygen to feel better. Juice bars, wine bars, coffee bars, and now oxygen bars. This is from many years ago. Oh yes, they're popping up all over the United States as well as Canada and Japan, where the craze is thought to have begun because of the serious air pollution there. Oxygen bars sell hits of 40% oxygen that is then delivered through a mask worn over the face. Proponents of this oxygen therapy say it boosts energy levels, increases your endurance during exercise, helps you bounce back more quickly from physical exertion, provides relief from stress and pollution, increases your concentration, helps you relax, and eases headaches and hangovers. Okay. Customers can purchase sessions that last anywhere from 5 minutes to 20 minutes. Monthly memberships are also available. The oxygen that is breathed in is scented with the customer's choice of aroma to enhance the experience. I saw this on television, 20 years ago, and it really looked ridiculous. Now, everybody says, well, yeah, of course you feel better because you're getting a big hit of oxygen. But, when you're off the oxygen, you don't feel any better. If you're healthy, you're already saturated, says Eric Barnett, clinical director of Rancho Mirage Hyperbarics in Rancho Mirage, California. You're not going to be any more saturated just because you're breathing in additional oxygen. And I'm very lucky. My oxygen is, between 98 and 99% consistently for the past 3 years. Who knew what your oxygen content level was until COVID? In hospital settings, 100% oxygen may be delivered, but only on a short-term basis. Fewer than 24 hours and preferably less than 12. To breathe pure oxygen at that level for any longer can have bad results. Too much of a good thing can kill you. And one thing that can kill you is shock lung or adult respiratory distress syndrome. In infants, too much pure oxygen for too long can also lead to retinal problems, as the blood vessels in their eyes will not develop properly. And there have been several singers, I think Jose Feliciano, a couple of others, who became blind as infants because they were put in these oxygen tents with too much oxygen. Since the oxygen provided in the oxygen bars is only a concentration of 40%, visiting an oxygen bar probably won't cause you any damage. Now, I don't know if oxygen bars are still around. I don't know if they're still a thing, especially in light of COVID. I mean, who wants to sit there, you think they give you a clean mask every time? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. You think the tubes that are going from the oxygen tank into your mouth, do you think they're cleaned regularly as people are breathing in and out? No. Come on now. This is not a medical facility. This is an oxygen bar. What is an oxygen dive bar? I guess that's where one person breathes in the oxygen and then breathes it out into another person's mouth. That's a good joke. I could make that work. Well, you know what? You know what people are saying to the oxygen bar? The people at Echo IV are saying, hold my beer, oxygen bar. Hold my oxygen mask, says Echo IV. I got this in the mail. And you know what? I don't think this was mailed to me because there's no postage on it. There's no address. I just happened to find it stuck in my mailbox, which is both curious and interesting. How did it get there? We don't know. And it just happens to be right across the street from us. I mean, 20 feet away is this new Echo IV therapy bar. So now they're not just putting an oxygen mask on you and you're breathing in smells, scents. Now they're putting an actual IV in your arm. I find it insane. People are that desperate to feel better, to get an edge, that they're going to suck oxygen or take in a therapeutic IV. And it's not cheap. Here's what some of it looks like. We'll go to the website in a minute, but I just want to show you what was sent to me. Metabolic Boost, the Pulse for only $200. Myers Whisper, a refined version of the famous Myers Cocktail, promote general wellness and fortify your immune system. And these, you're not drinking this. It's going into your arm like an IV. The Hangover, hey, $250 to get rid of your hangover. And 15% off if you're lucky like me and you have this. So this is the mailer right across the street from where we live. Not in focus. Close enough. Oh, I forgot to show you this too. This is funny. We're backstepping for this. This is oxygenbars.com. Maybe it is still a thing. This is all the gear that you can become an oxygen bar seller, dealer on your own. Here's the stuff. I assure you clean this every day, right? No, nobody cleans it. Hey, Artist Door says, I guess when people have money to spend, a toke of oxygen. I guess so. Just ridiculous. So here's the website for Echo IV therapy in drips in New York and New Jersey. Feel pain? Sore? Powerless? Experience all the benefits of IV therapy in the comfort of your own home? You don't have to go to a bar? And this is where it gets a little weird. Each of our IV drip treatments is specially crafted by our pharmacist and chock full of fluids. Well, I'm glad it's chock full of fluids because I wouldn't want it to be chock full of, flax seeds. Antioxidants, vitamins, medicines, and nutrients to help tackle a number of common symptoms people experience when they aren't feeling 100%. The result of our IV hydration therapy packages, you end up feeling great. And that is generally true, that if you're dehydrated and you take a lactated ringer, you'll feel better. You see it football players, they're getting IVs all the time. But do you want one every day? I don't think so. Our exclusive cocktails is our bestseller. This all-inclusive IV package gives you some of everything we offer and takes care of all your hydration needs. We have a variety of IV drips to help alleviate an array of symptoms and conditions, such as the migraine, dehydration, hangover, chronic pain, or you can create your own. Forget the pharmacists, forget the nurses, just mix your own. You can get your own IV drip. Choose the IV drip for your symptoms. Metabolic Boost, $379, a little more expensive than the flyer that was put in our mailbox. And I don't know how they put it in our mailbox, because our mailbox is locked and it's inside our building. Inside job, maybe. The Pulse is $379. Hey, it's easy to get better. I noticed they didn't say this helps vertigo. And you can book online. Here we go. You can order it online. I guess they come to your home, which is convenient for us because they're right across the street. And there was something I read on here that I'm asking about tipping. Are we expected, because it's a bar or whatever, the idea, right? Are we expected to tip? And the response was, hey, if you want to tip your nurse, who wouldn't want to tip if you're a nurse? We're providing you with these IV fluids. Of course you can tip. I don't think anybody's asking about tipping. The Myers Whisper, a refined version of the famous Myers Cocktail to promote general wellness and fortify your immune system. I find this whole thing just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. And I find it in some ways insulting to the intelligence of people. What is IV therapy? Let's just see what it says. Call to get a consultation. 600 Pavonia Avenue. It's the medical building. 3rd floor, suite BC. Pricing. See, look, click. Can't click on it. Doesn't tell you pricing. That's what I want to see, is what the prices are. You get a consultation. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of things wrong with you, I feel, when you try to book online. Oh, here you go. You can pick your own boosters. B12. Now, I was told the B12 shots can be very helpful for some people, but they need to be injected. I don't think IV counts the same way. But what do I know? I don't teach organic chemistry at NYU. I wouldn't know. I wonder if they'd put some stuff in there that's not on the list, if you know what I mean. Makes you wonder what's really available. So they can go to your location or their place. I wonder how much extra they charged for a home visit. I've looked at this very briefly. I didn't see anything that talked about home visits, pricing wise. Those are the treatments. About Us, is that what it was? No. What is their Instagram page, so? Oh, here you go. Oh, people are liking our things. Always have to peek. Oh! Oh, now I've done it. I've clicked on the wrong thing. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Do you offer discounts? Does insurance cover IV drip therapy? Our cheapest package is the hydration package, which is $200. Our IV therapy treatments are not covered by insurance. However, the cost is equitable to most ER copays. So you had to go to the ER because you're having a heart attack and your copay is $200. Hey, you could have had an IV instead. How do I pay for my IV trip? Well, we accept HSA, cash, and credit cards. Do you have travel fees? No, all travel fees are included with the cost of your IV trip as long as you're in our service area. Well, that's a bargain. Why walk across the street when they'll walk across the street to you? Oh, this was the best one I told you about. Can we tip? Oh, you can tip our hard-working registered nurses as a sign of appreciation for their quality care. And if you don't tip, that needle going into your arm is going to get a little tweak. You're going to be very bruised. Is there a minimum order? Yes. You must at least order our basic IV hydration package at $199. We're not doing anything for $198. You're going to pay the full $199 or we're not showing up. What's the bestseller? Hey, bestseller is the Mivm Cocktail. This is our all-inclusive package that has most of the vitamins and antioxidants that we offer. Now, what are they? What do they do for you? Why do you need them? Doesn't matter. It's popular. How much are additional vitamins and add-ins? Well, we charge $40 each for add-in vitamins, antioxidants, and nutrients. So there you go. Forget the oxygen bar. It's the IV home visit, now rearing its ugly head. And now this has inspired me to go back to our friend Dall-E. We begin where we end where we finish, we create the circle. Evil nurse, horror lighting. What will we get? I hope it's something funky, because if it's not funky, then we're not playing. Now, I don't like it when they try to use real people, because it's not very convincing. That's sort of interesting. I'm going to try to redo this. Sort of weird, right? Yeah. I would call that a failure. So, I didn't spell horror right, but they understood what I meant, though. So, evil nurse, horror lighting. Didn't work. Evil nurse, horror lighting, 3D. We'll try that. Because if it's 3D, it should get me away from people. From them trying to give me a realistic face. I don't want a realistic face. It's too creepy. The realistic, oh shit, we still have realistic faces. I'm not going to give up. Okay, I like they're using a male nurse. Non-discriminatory AI, thank you for that. Okay. I don't know where she's going to put that hand. Weird. But 3D, I don't understand it. Now we're going to go for anime. And just see if this gives us something that's a little more interesting. It's been an exhausting stream, I tell you that. I'm still wound up about NYU. The teachers teach, the students learn. That's all there is to it. And if students that want to learn, that's not the teacher's problem. Okay, weird. Sort of the assignment. Oh my. That looks like poor Coolio, sort of, who just died. Wonder if it's some kind of rendition of him. Well, I'm failing on the evil nurse thing. Maybe it's the horror lighting that's throwing it off. Let's do Treaty before. Maybe that way. I have to end on a high note, and right now my notes are very low. These have been wasted searches because they look awful. Oh, I don't want a realistic nurse though. I don't know how to make it. I don't know how to tell it to. Evil nurse. Whoops. Made of beans. If you can't get realistic, go for funny. I'm hoping this will be hilarious. I spelled beans right? Okay, good. New keyboard, you know. Okay, this I'll accept. It's funny. Dumb. Is that a nurse? I don't think so. Is that a nurse? I don't think so. But it is beanie. And this just doesn't make any sense. Oh, that one hurts my side. I need an IV. I'm feeling dehydrated. Oh. I've had just about enough of that. Well, we had a wonderful show today. I thank you for being here. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can email me, David, at Boles.tv. You can find me on Twitter. Lots of fun, evil stuff going on there. Hi, Dora. Thank you. Have a good time. You too. Thank you for being here. Have to type this. Whoops. It's still. Okay. I think that's it. You can find me on Twitter at David Boles and see more of this Dall-E animation, artificial imagination, artificial intelligence. On Facebook, same thing, artificial intelligence art, collaborating with Dall-E, Boles is the page. On Instagram, lots of art there too. We are Boles Books. And if you want the links that we shared on today's show, you can go right now to our Discord server. Join, say hi, join in, go to the links shared part of the server, and have a wonderful time together. So I hope you have a great day, nice nap, and when you shall awaken, may you be filled with joy in the soul, and you do not need any IVs or any student petitions filed against you. I'll see you next time.